Hello and welcome back to Take a Knee with Mike and JD. I am JD.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to be doing our Week 7 picks for the 2022 NFL season. So just a recap of last week. One of us had a pretty great week, and the other one picked the first 6 games wrong last week. So until the Cincinnati-New Orleans games, Mike went 0 for 6 up until then. But just a full recap. So coming into last week, the standings were 36-27-1 for Mike, and JD was 31-32-1. And then this week's records, Mike went 4-10, and I went 9-5. So if you add that up, we are now tied in the standings at 40-37-1. So Icarus over here a couple of weeks ago was, showboating 10 yards before the end zone and fumbled the ball.
It's still plenty of time. It's a long season.
So it's basically 0-0 again. So that was last week. So carrying us into this week, the first game of this week is the New Orleans Saints at the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. How do you see this one shaping up?
Look, I've gone to the Cardinals here. I think they'll maybe a 1-score game. I don't have much more thoughts on that one.
Yeah, Arizona, they're favorited only by 1.5 right now, so it is kind of like a toss-up of a game. New Orleans had a pretty good game. New Orleans had a pretty good game last week, even though they lost. Arizona just looked pretty crappy against Seattle. Arizona is at home, but I think I'm going to go New Orleans in this one. I just don't really have that much faith in Arizona right now.
Yeah, sure. And so the next game we've got is the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens.
So Baltimore came off a heartbreaking loss last week where Lamar Jackson basically cost them the game there in the fourth quarter with a big interception and a big fumble. They are back at home. They are playing kind of a Cleveland team that's kind of gotten the crap kicked out of it the last couple of weeks. Cleveland seems to have really fallen apart. Baltimore is about a touchdown favorite right now, and I think that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to stick with Baltimore here, even though the Steeler in me wants Cleveland to win, so that Baltimore, Cleveland, and hopefully if we beat Miami, we'll all be 3-4. But I'm going to give this one to Baltimore.
I am too. I think Baltimore will look to bounce back off that and. You're right in that Cleveland's fallen apart. So I think I can't see any other result than Baltimore winning.
So our next game is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers.
I'm going the Bucks here. They definitely the Bucks are having a weird season. They're definitely not the team they were previous years. But I do think they'll be too much for the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers are a weird team right now. They're looking to trade McCaffrey. They just traded Anderson. They just aren't playing that great. Tom Brady is the type of guy who always comes back. So, he didn't have a great game against the Steelers. Even though Carolina and the Steelers had pretty similar records last week, I think the Steelers are a better team than Carolina. As it stands right now. So, Tampa's about a 10-point favorite right now. So I'm going to stick with that and take Tampa.
Yeah. So our next game is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, this is a weird one because right now they're kind of evenly matched teams. I mean, Cincy's a touchdown favorite right now, but Atlanta beat a pretty good 49ers team, by 2 scores. Cincinnati kind of had their hands full with New Orleans. It wouldn't shock me if Atlanta wins this game, but with them playing at home, I think Cincinnati will continue to get better each week. I'm going to have to take Cincy in this one.
I'm taking Cincy too. I can see a path to the Falcons winning, and if come Sunday the Falcons win, I'm not going to be shocked. I'm not, but I don't think it'll happen. So stick with the Bengals.
Yeah, Mariota would have to sort of play out of his mind again, I think, to win on the road in Cincinnati. So, Our next game is the Detroit Lions traveling to play the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, look, I'm taking the Cowboys in this one. Um, talk of Prescott could be back, but look, I mean, they've been getting the job done even without him. So if he does come back, that's just going to be a nice little uh, boost for them. So I'm going to stick with the Cowboys.
Yeah, you saw that. They came back against Philadelphia. They were 3 points. They were down 17-0 at one point, and it was 2017. So even without Dak, Cooper Rush still played a pretty good team, in the Eagles pretty close. So yeah, especially Dallas being at home, if they do get Dak back, I think they'll probably be even better there with a more mobile quarterback. So I am gonna take Dallas in this one.
Our next game is the New York Giants at the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do you see it?
So this is a weird one. So Jacksonville is actually favored right now by 3 points, which is kind of funny to me. Which, the Giants came back and beat Baltimore. Yes, it was pretty close at the end. They didn't have a great game. But I can see this being kind of like a meme of the Giants where, they're having a great year and they sort of run into Jacksonville, who's kind of an up-and-coming team. I think I'm going to stick with the odds right here. I think Jacksonville might come in with the upset with them playing it at home. So I'm going to take Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm going to take Jacksonville too. I think it's going to be fairly close. But the Giants are having a fantastic season considering where they've come from. But they've got to be due for a letdown soon. Especially beating the Packers, although at the moment that doesn't seem like an amazing achievement. Beating the Ravens back to back. I can see, and given the Jaguars at home, I'm gonna take them.
All right. Our next game here is the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans.
So I'm gonna take. Look, I actually don't know to be completely honest.
So right now, Tennessee's favored by 3 points. If that helps you at all.
Yeah, I'll probably stick with that. So I will take the Titans, seeing they are at home. But I think I can see this being much the same as the Jaguars game. Like, I think this will be close, and I'm giving the home team the advantage.
Yeah, if Indianapolis comes and plays like they did last week, it'd probably be Indy. I think, Tennessee is coming off of a bye, I want to say. Yeah, they're coming off fresh. Indy, it's kind of positive for both teams. Tennessee, it is earlier in the season, but they do get a bye week to refresh. But Indianapolis is kind of coming off sort of their best, especially Matt Ryan's best game in a Colts uniform. I think momentum might help Indy, so I'm going to take Indianapolis in this game.
So our next game is my Packers at the Washington Commanders. I still struggle to say Commanders. I still go to say Redskins.
Yeah. Green Bay's 5-point favorites right now. I would be shocked if they lose this game, honestly. The Commanders struggled to even put up 12 points against the Bears last week. Green Bay that's the first time in the LaFleur era that they lost back-to-back home games. It's something that doesn't happen a lot. Yes, they are on the road this week, but this is a game that I think Green Bay should win. You look at the last 2 weeks where they lost against the New York teams. Those are pretty good teams, and even though I think Green Bay played better in one of those games and not too great last week, I just think they're much better than the Washington Commanders. So I'm gonna stick with Green Bay here on the road.
Look, I am too. We have to win. I mean, we've got a horror stretch coming up, and the real shame of this is this was the kind of easier stretch of games which we really should have picked up some wins, but we've got to win, and I think the offense is going to take time, but I think they should beat Washington, and it should be a way to get a bit of flow going. I mean, Washington's pass defense is horrid, and their run defense isn't too much better. So, if they can't get over if they can't beat them even with the rookie receivers they've got, and if they can't get the run game going against Washington, they're not going to get it going this year. Over to you for the next one.
Yep. So that finishes our early games. So starting our mid-afternoon games, it is the New York Jets traveling to play the Denver Broncos.
Look, I'm gonna take the Jets, and I've been seeing that this is the upset, and some people have been saying this is the upset of the week. Where I'm surprised to see that. For me, the Broncos winning would be the upset. So I'm not really sure what the betting markets are basing that on. Yes, yes, the Broncos are at home, but I mean they just can't get it together, and the Jets are playing really well. Like, I mean, I don't think the Packers helped themselves last week, but the Jets, were convincing. So Jets for mine.
And what good teams do is they take advantage of mistakes by other teams. So it wasn't just Green Bay making mistakes like block punts and bad play calling. The Jets also then have to take advantage of that, score touchdowns and things, and that's what they did. I guess only, like you said, the only thing is that Denver's at home, and they are favored by 3 points, but it's kind of crazy to me. The Jets went in and won in Pittsburgh. Yes, Kenny Pickett threw a late interception, but again, like I just said, the Jets took advantage of that to win. They went in and they won in Green Bay. So those are pretty two good away wins for them right now. And the fact that Denver, who, is 2-4, is favorited still at home against the Jets is kind of crazy. I think the Jets have a lot of momentum, so I'm going to stick with the Jets because, the Broncos, I think, have the worst offense right now as far as points scored, and the Jets' defense isn't that much to laugh at. They are around middle of the road, maybe a little bit above average, but especially coming in against an offense that really hasn't been doing anything. They benched Melvin Gordon. Russ is missing wide open wide receivers, so unless something drastically changes, I'm going to have to stick here with the Jets.
So next up we have Houston at the Las Vegas Raiders.
Kind of a coin flip game. I think Vegas is better than Houston, but I think Houston, Houston is bad, but I don't see them being like a rollover type game. I think, like we talked about before, they still come out and play. A lot of their games have been sort of close. They have come in and played. I think I'm though still going to have to stick with the home team. They were favored by a touchdown, so I'm going to go with the Raiders on this one.
I'm going to go with the Raiders as well. Being at home, coming off the bye, the Texans have the bye as well. I can't actually remember, but
yes, they are both coming off of a bye.
I think at home, Vegas are the better team. Another one of those games, if when you tune in, Houston somehow end up getting the win, like that wouldn't shock me either, but I don't think it's likely. So I'll go the Raiders.
So our next game here is the Seattle Seahawks traveling to meet the Los Angeles Chargers.
I'm going to go to the Chargers in this one. I think. The Seahawks have definitely been better than I thought, but the Chargers at home, I can see them winning in a maybe 1 or 2 score game.
The Seahawks, their 3 wins have come against bad teams. We're talking about Denver, who is bad right now. They put up a ton of points on the Lions, who are a bad team. And then they beat the Cardinals, and they beat them pretty solidly. The Cardinals should be better than what they are right now, but they just aren't. So they're they're 3-3. They're playing kind of down teams, whereas the Chargers do have a couple of key injuries right now, but and they didn't really play the Broncos that great. But I think the Chargers probably still pull this one out. Especially playing at home. I think they adjust to the issues that they had last week.
Yeah. All right. So our next game is Kansas City at the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, so we have two, one great team and one pretty okay team coming off of losses. Kansas City has to travel to meet San Francisco. Kansas City is favored by field goal right now. It's pretty rare in the Patrick Mahomes era for them to lose 2 games in a row. It obviously has happened, but it doesn't happen a lot. But on the flip side, San Francisco, they play pretty well at home. So it's super hard to pick against Mahomes because even when they're down, he typically brings them back. So
yep,
I'm gonna have to stick with KC on this one.
Same here. I have the same thoughts as you about San Francisco. They play well at home. I mean, they do have significant injuries on the defense piling up, which I think Mahomes will definitely take advantage of. But adding the fact that they don't often have 2 losses in a row, I can see Mahomes having a big game and coming away with the win.
All right, so now into the Sunday night game of the week, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, look, I went back and forth on this one. I'm going to take the Dolphins. I don't know at this stage if Tua's back or if it's still Teddy Bridgewater, but I think Hill and Waddle, and that will be a bit too much for the Pittsburgh pass defense to contain. So I think it'd be pretty close, but maybe Dolphins by a field goal or a touchdown.
Yeah, the Dolphins are favored by 7 points right now. I think this is a pretty must-win game right now for the Steelers to save their season. I just kind of feel it right now that I think that the Steelers are going to win. I will feel better if Minkah Fitzpatrick comes back and plays, especially over the top to help against Waddle, especially Tyreek Hill if he's running down the field. You've seen the way Miami's on a 3-game slide right now. Yes, people think that Tua's not a really good quarterback, but he obviously helped them win. And he definitely has some sort of sink in that offense to help them move the ball. The Steelers are obviously still missing TJ Watt, which is a big thing. If Miami doesn't have Tua and they have to play either Teddy or their backup that I'm forgetting the name, but I think the Steelers have a better chance. But I'm just enough for Emily. I'm going to pick the Steelers in this one. I think it's a game that they need to win, and I can kind of feel that them coming off a big win on the road.
Yep. And so, wrapping us up here on Monday Night Football is Chicago Bears at the New England Patriots.
New England. They're only favored by 4.5 points, which I find is crazy, the way that they're playing right now and how bad Chicago is right now. Especially going up and playing in New England. I'm going to have to take New England in this one, and I feel pretty confident in that decision.
So do I. I think New England easy. I think Chicago's offense isn't throwing too much out, and Belichick, will figure that out pretty easy. And Zappi's, is doing enough to get the ball to Ramondre Stevenson and guys like that. I think it'll be a pretty decent win. Maybe.
I'm thinking it might be 2-3 score touchdown type of win.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Something like 30 something 10 or something. I think it'll be a big win.
And to be fair, yes, Justin Field, I think all of his statistics, it's either the worst or the second worst quarterback playing right now. He still gave his team a chance to win last week. He threw two good balls on 3rd and 4th down there at the goal line, and Pettis just couldn't pull it in. But just the way that Belichick has the Patriots playing right now, I think New England should win pretty handedly. And then other than that, the 4 teams on the bye this week is the Buffalo Bills, the Los Angeles Rams, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Philadelphia Eagles. So that is our Week 7 picks for the 2022 NFL season. Please let us know down below what are your picks, or just call us idiots for our picks, I guess. Which stemming off of last week, you might have to call Mike an idiot, but. But again, thanks for checking us out. Please considering subscribing and liking this video. Other than that, thanks for checking us out, and you have a nice day.
See you guys.